After the unexpected breakfast revelation, Wyan tried her best to ignore Taehyung. She focused on getting ready for college, determined to act like nothing happened. But no matter how hard she tried, her mind kept replaying Mr. Kim's words. You and Taehyung used to play husband and wife. Then I should marry YN. She groaned loudly, pressing her hands against her burning face. YN muttering to herself, why is my life like this? Meanwhile, Taehyung, who was already waiting in living room, was smirking to himself, knowing YN was probably dying of embarrassment. As YN finally came, she avoided making eye contact with him. She grabbed her bag quickly, ready to leave for college. But just as she stepped toward the door, Taehyung leaned against the wall and blocked her way. Taehyung smirking, arms crossed. No good morning for your future husband. YN glaring, pushing past him. You're not my future husband. Taehyung chuckling. You didn't deny we used to play husband and wife, though. YN blushing, spinning around to face him. Because I was a child, Taehyung mocking innocence. So that just means you were already comfortable being my wife. YN was so flustered she almost tripped. Himmin, who was standing near the door, silently sipped his coffee, enjoying the drama. Himmin muttering, this is better than reality shows. YN shot him a glare before storming out of the house, Taehyung following behind her with a satisfied smirk. Time skip. At the office. The moment YN walked into the office, she tried her best to focus on her work. She sat at her desk, reviewing documents, pretending that Taehyung didn't exist. But Taehyung wasn't having it. He sat at his desk, staring at her again. After a few minutes, YN slammed her pen down and turned to him. YN irritated. Stop staring at me. Taehyung smirking. I'm just looking at my future wife. YN groaning. You're impossible. Himmin, who was sitting nearby, was barely holding back his laughter. Himmin playfully, young master, please don't tease the poor girl. She might actually explode. Taehyung grinning. I'm just preparing her for the future. YN huffing. There is no future. Taehyung leaning closer, whispering in a deep voice. We'll see about that, YN. Her entire face turned red. Himmin let out a dramatic sigh. Himmin teasing. Can you guys stop flirting? Some of us are trying to work. YN yelling, flustered. We are not flirting. Taehyung, looking completely amused, just sat back in his chair and continued watching her with a satisfied smirk. This was going to be a very interesting day. Time skip a few days later. The office buzzed softly with the sound of keyboards and ringing phones. But the tension between Taehyung and In was louder than anything else. For days now, Taehyung's teasing and hovering had only grown bolder. He was everywhere, in her space, in her thoughts, in her heart, and YN had had enough. As she struggled to finish a report, she felt his gaze once again, burning into her side. Her pen slipped for the third time that day. YN snapping, can you stop staring at me for once? The room fell into dead silence. Even Himmin's typing halted. Taehyung blinked, surprised at her outburst. I was just YN frustrated. Just what, Taehyung? Teasing me, following me, acting like I belong to you. Her voice cracked at the end, her emotions bubbling over. She stood up, her chair scraping back loudly. I've had enough. Stay away from me. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Just leave me alone. A thick silence blanketed the room, and everyone pretended to be busy, but their ears were clearly tuned into the argument. Taehyung's jaw clenched, the playful glimmer in his eyes replaced by something colder. Something sad, he swallowed, his voice quiet but steady. Taehyung, fine, I'll stay away. In's heart stuttered. She didn't expect him to agree so easily. Taehyung firmly, I won't show my face to you, but only for a week. Her eyes darted to his. What? He took a step closer, his tone growing darker. In this 1 week, if you realize you love me or want me, I'm here. In froze. The weight of his words hit like a ton of bricks. Taehyung voice soft but intense. But if at the end of this week you still don't want me, you'll still have to stay with me. Her lips parted in shock. What do you mean? He leaned down, his face inches from hers, his voice barely a whisper. Taehyung, because even if you don't want me, YN, I still want you. With that, he turned sharply and strode out of the office, leaving him speechless, her heart pounding, her mind a mess. And for the first time, she wondered, did she want him to? That evening, after a quiet ride from the office, YN stepped into the warm-lit Kim mansion with a heavy heart. She took off her shoes at the door, eyes unconsciously looking toward the stairs, where he usually stood, either waiting or pretending not to wait. But today, the silence felt thicker. She walked into the kitchen, placing her bag on the counter. YN to the maid, softly, "Did the young master come home?" The maid, surprised, turned toward her. Miss YN. No, he didn't. Master Taehyung left for a business trip to Japan this afternoon. YN's eyes widened slightly. In Japan, business trip. The maid nodded with a smile. Yes, said it was urgent. He didn't even have dinner before leaving. Mr. Kim said it might take a few days. She stood there silently, a pain in her chest. He left. Just like that? But she knew he didn't have any business trip planned. She worked on his schedule. This wasn't real. He lied to stay away from her. And somehow, knowing that hurt even more than she expected. Without a word, Kim quietly went up to her room. The water ran gently as she freshened up, but no matter how many times she splashed her face, she couldn't wash off the guilt clinging to her chest. Later, she helped her mother and the maids prepare dinner. The table was set beautifully, the food was delicious, but something was missing, someone. In's mother noticed her daughter moving a little slower, quieter than usual. In's mother, YN, are you alright? YN gave a small nod. Yeah, just tired, maybe. But her eyes wandered to the empty chair at the end of the dining table. His chair, still untouched. And for the first time in days, the house felt a little too big, and her heart felt a little too empty. Day 2. In sat in the office, trying to focus on the files in front of her. But every time someone entered the room, her eyes shot up hoping, just maybe it was him. But it never was. His chair stayed empty. His scent was gone. The teasing glances, the way he used to quietly watch her when she was focused, it was all missing. Day 3. At home, she accidentally made his tea instead of hers. She stared at the cup, then laughed at herself softly. But there was no one to hear that laugh, and it didn't even feel like a real one. She scrolled through her gallery that night. Taehyung sleeping with his head on his desk. Taehyung sulking when she refused to share her snack. Taehyung smiling, eyes crinkled, just for her. She switched off the phone quickly, swallowing the tightness in her chest. Day 4. She entered his room, just stood there, not touching anything. His books, his cologne, the jacket he had thrown on the chair, it was all just as he left it. Her fingers curled into fists. She turned around and ran out before the tears could fall. Day 5. She laughed with her friends at lunch. But it was hollow. Her heart wasn't in it. And when she passed the tall boy with wavy dark hair outside the cafe, her breath caught thinking it was him. But it wasn't. And it never was. Day 6. She came home late, entered the mansion slowly, her footsteps echoing through the hallway. It was too quiet again. She peeked into the living room. Empty. She looked toward the stairs. Still empty. She walked straight to the rooftop. She couldn't take it anymore. She didn't care how dramatic it looked. Her heart felt too full, her chest too tight. In sat on the rooftop floor, hugging her knees. The breeze played with her hair as the sun began to set, painting the sky in orange and gold. Tears slowly spilled down her cheeks. YN softly whispering to herself, I didn't mean to push you away. I was just scared. But not having you here hurts even more. A soft sound of a door creaking broke the silence. She didn't look back at first. Footsteps, familiar ones. The ones she had memorized without even realizing. She turned her head, and there he was, Taehyung. Hair is slightly messy, eyes darker, quieter. His like he had been holding in too much for too long. Their eyes met. Neither moved for a second. And then without thinking, without a single word, YN got up and ran straight into his arms. YN, you said 1 week. Taehyung holding her tightly. I know, but I couldn't stay away. Not when you were hurting like this. YN sobbing into his chest. I'm sorry. I didn't want to lose you. He pulled her closer, resting his chin on her head, voice breaking ever so slightly. Taehyung, you never lost me. YN, you never will. You just had to open your heart. And now that you have, I'm not going anywhere. The wind carried their warmth across the rooftop, and for the first time in days, no, weeks, they both felt home. Taehyung sat down beside YN, still holding her hand tightly as if letting go would send her vanishing into the wind again. Taehyung softly, I've never begged anyone to stay before. Never chased anyone but with you. I can't help it. I don't just want you. YN, I need you. In looked up at him, her eyes glistening, heart fluttering in a way she had never known. YN quietly, you make it so hard not to fall for you. Taehyung chuckled softly and cupped her cheek, brushing away a tear with his thumb. Taehyung, then fall, I'll catch you every single time. She smiled, sigh, unsure, but undeniably in love. Her heart raced as she leaned into his touch. YN, this is new to me, Tae, but I think I'm starting to love you. His entire face lit up, like someone had switched on every star in his eyes. Taehyung pulling her closer, forehead against hers. I already love you, madly, stupidly, recklessly, and now, you're mine. They stayed like that, forehead to forehead, fingers intertwined. The city lights twinkling below like stars cheering for their new beginning. Next morning, dining table, Kim Mansion. In was helping her mom and she looked perfectly normal until Taehyung walked in, all smug and dreamy looking, humming a love song as he sat right next to YN. Taehyung, good morning, sunshine, with a smirk. YN, whispers, stop acting suspicious. Taehyung, loudly suspicious, me, I'm just in love. YN coughed into her water, hard. Ann's mother, are you okay, dear? YN, why yeah, totally fine, glaring at Taehyung. Taehyung leaning closer, whispering, should I tell them now? YN whispers, Tae, not now. I'm not mentally prepared. Mr. Kim raised his brow, clearly sensing something. He sipped his coffee dramatically and eyed both of them. Mr. Kim, okay, what's going on here? You two are acting like high schoolers with a secret. Well, grinning. We kinda have something to confess. YN tried to slide under the table but failed. Taehyung, I love YN, and she loves me back. We're together now. Mr. Kim paused, poker face. Mr. Kim, finally slamming his hand on the table. It took you both long enough. I was betting with the gardener that you'd take at least another month to confess. In's mother smiled. Mr. Kim dramatic hand to heart. What? I always knew Taehyung was head over heels. But YN, she's as slow as dial-up internet. In, uncle. Taehyung, laughing, holding YN's hand. It's okay, as long as she's mine now. I don't mind the wait. Mr. Kim, just treat her right, young man. Taehyung, sir, I plan to marry her. So yes, I'll treat her like my entire world. In's eyes widened. YN, WH marriage. Taehyung winks, just mentally prepare. It's not today, but soon.